So, is this an appropriate thing for a member of the United States Congress to say? That's a direct quote from Rep. Ilhan Omar, who told a crowd of people that America was not going to be the country of white people. Can you imagine those words coming out of President Trump's mouth and swapping out white people for black people? It would be an uprising. And rightly so. So why is it okay for Omar to say? Maybe the answer is, it's not. Take a look. Rep. Ilhan Omar asserted this is not going to be the country of white people during a rally in D.C. yesterday. Imagine if a white Republican had made a speech saying the same thing about black people. Their political career would be finished. https://t.co/2hd9gh2, Paul Joseph Watson, at Prison Planet, May 1, 2019. Here's more on the story, from Breitbart. Black Lives Matter and other anti-Trump groups held a rally on the grounds of the Capitol on Tuesday to call for President Donald Trump to be censured for what he said about Rep. Ilhan Omar's DMN, controversial statement that somebody did something on 9/11. People chanted "Hands off Ilhan" and in a series of speeches blamed the president and Republicans for the rise of white supremacy masked as white nationalism. Omar spoke at the event in praise of her homeland of Somalia and said the president and his party are responsible for recent attacks on synagogues and mosques. At this moment, the occupant of the White House and his allies are doing everything that they can to distance themselves and misinform the public from the monsters that they created, that is, sick, terrorizing the Jewish community and the Muslim community, Omar said. Omar said she is criticized because she is a Muslim woman. I also happen to be a refugee and immigrant from what they call one of the shithole countries, Omar said, mocking the president for his alleged comments about war-torn countries like Somalia that drive their people out. The reality is that shithole country raised a very proud, dignified person, Omar said. Our circumstances may not always be perfect, but that doesn't lessen our humanity, and I am not in the business of defending mine. Omar was not as complimentary of the United States. This is not going to be the country of the xenophobics, Omar said. This is not going to be the country of white people. This is not going to be the country of the few, Omar said. This is the country of the many. This is the country that was founded on the history of Native American genocide, on the backs of black slaves but also by immigrants, Omar said. And from CNN, Rep. Ilhan Omar, in her first extensive remarks since President Donald Trump publicly criticized her comments about 9/11, condemned the president's vile attacks and demented views. We are collectively saying your vile attacks, your demented views are not welcome here, the Minnesota Democrat said Tuesday at a rally outside the U.S. Capitol. This is not going to be the country of the xenophobics. This is not going to be the country of the white people. This is not going to be the country of the few. This is going to be the country of the many. Omar's remarks came on her first day back on Capitol Hill after a 2-week recess. While lawmakers were out of town, Trump tweeted a video on April 12 using 9/11 imagery attacking her comments about the September 11 terrorist attacks, and she has since said she's had an uptick in death threats. When this occupant of the White House chooses to attack me, we know that attack isn't for Ilhan, Omar said. That attack is the continuation of the attacks that he has leveled against women, against people of color, against immigrants, against refugees, and certainly against Muslims. CNN has reached out to the White House for comment on Omar's criticism Tuesday and has not immediately received a response. Omar also brought up the California synagogue shooting from over the weekend and the discussion on anti-Semitism that has followed. At this moment, the occupant of the White House and his allies are doing everything that they can to distance themselves and misinform the public from the monsters that they created, that is, terrorizing the Jewish community and the Muslim community, Omar said. Because when we are talking about anti-Semitism, we must also talk about Islamophobia. It is two sides to the same coins of bigotry. She added, just this week, when we've had the attack in California on a synagogue, it is the same person who is accused of attempting to bomb a mosque. So I can't ever speak of Islamophobia and fight for Muslims if I am not willing to fight against anti-Semitism. We collectively need to make sure that we are dismantling all systems of oppression. Response online was not positive for Omar. Omar is a racist and a xenophobe. She hates white people and Americans. Bill Mitchell, at Mitchell v. May 2, 2019. In the same sentence she condemns racism and xenophobia. Omar attacks white people. That's racist, Omar. Why is this seditionist allowed in Congress? Bill Mitchell, at Mitchell v. May 2, 2019. Vote Trump. You might like previous post, previous, next post, next. Let's block ads. Why?